down low was pre-ring ban. Yeah, that meta was so miserable. God, that was so awful. When it was just every single match was a one ring deck. All right, let's start a league off against Jeskai Control with the one ring, and then into Mono Black Necro with the one ring, into Yawgmoth with the one ring, then Amulet Titan with the one ring, and wrap it up with Twiddle Storm with the one ring. And then we jump into a new league, and it's like, here's Scape Shift with a one ring, into Tron with turn 2 one ring, into another Boros Energy with the one ring, into Underworld Breach with the one ring. Like, bruh. Sign wasn't a thing when Ring was unbanned. Well, Ring was never unbanned, just banned. But Consign was a thing when the One Ring was around. The problem is just wasn't good enough. Like, you needed more than Consign. You think 10 Rings is going to be played in Tron? I don't know if you saw it. I don't believe I have seen that. Kind of want to just Thoughtseize here. Opponent's got 5 cards available. If I slam this frog and they have a fatal push, I'm kind of just not doing anything. But at the same time, this might be my only window to get through Counterspell. Flare of Denial, what's going on? What's going on is the people yelled enough that this is what they wanted to see. It happens. Hey, look, it's the thing I said was going to happen. The 10 rings, your maximum hand size is 10 at the beginning of your end step. If you have fewer than 10 cards in hand, draw cards equal to the difference. I'm sure there will be people that play this as like a sideboard card to grab off their card, the Great Creator. I don't think it's worth a main deck slot because this is a whole turn that you're taking off to do absolutely nothing. Because, like, what are you going to do after you draw all those cards? Just kind of like stare at the wall? Look, it's the thing. Looks absolutely horrible here, but it's the thing. Flare this so I can untap and Thoughtseize, maybe find a land. Start with Scour. I think if I hit a 4th land, that's pretty good. My Oculus. Opponent, please, I ask you, do not have like a fetch land here to play your own Oculus. All right, so they're playing like the exact list that was Spider Spaces. Force negation off of a Flare of Denial. Okay. Do I want to try to chip in for 2 damage? Probably not. Would, however, like to maybe get a second Oculus. Yep. Kept a card on top. Oh, baby. Frog. Surely that's not what they kept on top, right? Like, I consider myself a connoisseur of all things Psychic Frog, but I don't know if I'd say that was good enough to keep on top. Like, I hate that so much. We got the thing. Opponents also got a thing. And another thing. Another one. Go ahead and do something with this. Doesn't really matter. Sacking away. All right, Riddler to draw Riddler, sure. Okay. So I know I'm playing that out this turn before I do anything combat-wise. How does combat look here? I have to flip up. I have to flip up this other MoonShadow. I think I can just right-click attack all. Five. Yeah, I can right-click attack all because even if they like double block an Oculus, if they don't block this one, that's 5. They're at 11. They block with their 2 other blockers. So 5, 12, 14, 16 exactly if they do that. So they have to block both Oculuses. See if that resolves. Okay. Math is for blockers. Guess I don't want to pass, because if they block this one, I could flip it face up and keep it alive. I can flip it instant speed, but I don't want them to put a blocker on this MoonShadow. This is just a free 7 damage unless they do this. Yeah. Go to damage. Kill that horribly. They're doing this to get down to 1 card. Sure. Yep. Doesn't do a whole lot for me. So they block Oculus on Oculus. Frog blocks a manifest and discards. Riddler on a manifest. Manifest on a manifest. And they take 7 and go to 1. I think I still have to. Like, where am I getting if I'm not attacking? Because they're just going to be drawing more cards with Riddler. And how does he know? Because technically they don't have green mana for whatever that's worth. And they get us if they sing, sling, and find an Oculus. They can get us 5,000 ways. I think they only have 1 sync, though, and they're 75. But at the moment, we're attacking for lethal because they have to double block the MoonShadow. All right, remember, kids, when in doubt, right-click, attack all. I don't want to bring in stupid Lauren of the Third Path just for birthing ritual. I'm on the draw. There's nothing I want. If I bring in surgical extraction, I'm a hypocrite here. Though I'm pretty positive they just can't win if we take out Oculus. So that's basically the only thing I want. And I kind of want Harbinger out of the deck, so sure. Is there any argument for Force of Despair over something? I don't think so. Roll it. This and try to get on board with these MoonShadows. All right, so they got a Hedge Maze instead of a Black Source, which could very well mean that they just don't have a Fatal Push in hand. Maybe they have an Ice Fang Coatl. Man, isn't MoonShadow looking so good this game? Aren't we doing it? Hmm. Hey, we're doing stuff. Whether it's good stuff or not, I don't know yet. See what we hit. I'll get a Meticulous Archive. I don't have anything white in the deck, but might as well not show them that. Ice Fang Coatl number 2. Kind of interesting that they're putting this much effort into getting their black sources available, or into getting their snow basics and not their black sources, but I guess now, sure. I mean, Harbinger. Essence Flux. So let's go Fatal Push, target an Ice Fang. See if they want to, they don't want to burn a flare. Got a Thought Scour coming off the top. I kind of just want to Fatal Push this Ice Fang Coatl while they don't have like Essence Flux up. Yeah. Surgical extraction. I guess I could have like surgical the Ice Fangs or something to try to stop him from hard casting an Oculus. Might have been the better play. Surgical won us this game. Surgical did win us this game. The psychological damage our opponent was inflicted by knowing that we had surgical extraction in our 75 was immeasurable. But it sensed it in our hand and they scooped. Can you blame them? Like, surgical extraction. Some might say it's as infamous as the Catalina wine mixer. Fucking Catalina wine mixer. Ugh. Best kind of extraction, I'd dare wager. I feel like there's some military operations in the Middle East and like Asia that would disagree. This hand's pretty bad. And is significantly better. What am I throwing back? Third land. Third land, second Thoughtseize. Third land. Looting. Thoughtseize. Oculus Archon. Pretty Thoughtseize proof hand, if I do say so myself. So we'll just take their Thoughtseize. Say go. On the bright side, we sure as heck found a surgical extraction matchup. Archon down. Okay. Now the question is, do we get ballsy and go for an archaeologist and try to hit a flare, or do we just cast second Thoughtseize? I think the answer is second Thoughtseize, but take that one. Surely our opponent will not find another persist. Slash. Yeah, and unearth. to find off your archaeologist because we're running MoonShadow instead of a good spell. Oh, I love that. See what we hit. Deck's broken. Deck is indeed broken. A proven fact at this point. So I need to hit a land, and I need to have Archaeologist flip me into Bitter Triumph. Not. Here's another great question for the people at home. Have y'all been impressed with this Grixis Reanimator deck? Eight out of 10. Would reanimate again. A new Grixis Goryo's list won a big event. I like that version more than Grixis Archon. Were we stone cold to the Archon, we'd have fodder to sack to Archon and Oculus left. But they'd have an Oculus to play on their turn. And then we have to go back to our turn with no cards in hand and a top deck that's not getting rid of Archon unless it's exactly Bitter Triumph. But then they still have an Oculus and double Faithless Looting and like 3 cards in hand. So are we stone cold to Archon? No. Not at that particular second. Are we very likely to win the game from that position? Also, no. Don's a bad bitch. I might say the baddest. Pretty resilient to Thoughtseize here. That's kind of cool. I'm biased. I never do well with Reanimator. Neither do I. And I feel like it's I don't like the backup plan of any of the Reanimator decks. I like the backup plan of Grixis Reanimator a little bit more, but overall I'm not a fan of like any of them. Have anything white in the deck, right? I think I have Prismari Charm. I mean, it's just Goryo's, but you're replacing Faithful Mending with Faithless Looting, and everything else is like the exact same. It's a little more all-in Reanimator-y. Do I want to take Unearth, or do I want... Yeah, I probably want to take Unearth. That way I can be a little more liberal with sacking this Flare. They have a backup plan. Backup plan. I would like for you to not have that. Okay. I think we start off with Unearth the Fallaji archaeologist to try to hit another Flare of Denial. In case they have surgical extraction. TBD. No! Where's my Kaito to pick that up? All right, so this is Oculus Frog, I assume. I should have scoured first in case I hit Flare. Right. I'm gonna attack with this Ashiok to see if they'll discard to the frog and block. We're gonna Thoughtseize plus Archaeologist. There. Show me a Flare. Cannot. They can get this frog up big enough to jump if they want. They do know that I have this fatal push. Ooh. That was their draw for turn. Why are you letting me block? I know your last card's a Steam Vents. That was a choice. What does the survey say about that? Would I rather pick up the Manifest or would I rather pick up an Archaeologist? I gotta pick up the Ashiok for the memes, right? There's no way we have the opportunity to Kaito and Ashiok and we don't take it. Even if I don't think this is necessarily correct. At the very least, it makes a fantastic thumbnail. Okay. So now I will go ahead and draw this frog that I've got on top. I will give you the opportunity to block the Kaito, should you so desire. And I think I'm just going to 0 Kaito here. So, graveyard. Draw that. Unearth. Oculus. Play Ashiok. All right. Play Ashiok, nuke their yard so they can't fly the frog. They could play a Emperor of Bones, exile one of my Oculuses, and attack. But I could trade off Oculus and save Kaito if I want. Then Kaito's like a force chump block the next turn. Think it's fine for me. What do we think of this card? Black Widow Super Spy. 1 in a black, 2/1 menace, legendary human spy hero. Let's keep this real quick. Throwback. Subtlety. Legendary human spy hero, 2/1 menace. Whenever Black Widow deals combat damage to a player, that player exiles cards from the top of their library until they exile a non-land card. You may put a 1/1 counter on Black Widow. If you don't, you may cast the exiled non-land card until end of turn. Mana of any type can be spent to cast that spell. So definitely Ragavan-esque, right? Or do they just have turn 2 persist? Ragavan at home. It's cool. It's cool. I don't think it's like anything crazy. Thank you very much for exiling that Archon out of your yard. I greatly do appreciate it. I would like to kill this now. Definitely should have waited until next turn to do that. Standard to mid-range gamers will probably love it at least. Yeah, except for the fact that Kaito rotates out in like less than a year. I don't know when the actual rotation is. I know it's not that far away, but it's cool. Like, it's got some form of evasion-ish, which is a big plus. But X1s, especially in Modern, are a really, really rough spot to be. Because, like, Bowmasters does still exist if something like that becomes problematic. Ocelot Pride being a first striker with, like, a token is problematic. Renin 6 still exists in the format, for what it's worth. Force of Negation. Try our best to get our opponent unalived quickly. Remember when we wanted Renin 6 banned? I mean, Renin 6 is still one of the, like, in a vacuum, strongest cards in Modern. It's just everything else in Modern is, like, so hyper focused and hyper synergized to move faster. Kind of wild. So we sack off the Archaeologist for the Flare. Do the good old check for Spell Pierce. That it really matters. Like to Force of Negation that. Is one toughness 2 drops anew, it gets bolted? For the most part, yeah. Okay. Archaeologist, I just need you to flip over a permanent. Any permanent. Any single permanent in the deck. Any permanent. Thank you. Though I'm a little bit disappointed that it took you 3 hits to find a permanent. Really did almost whiff. I want to keep this hand on the play. I shouldn't, but I want to. Should have kept it. Right, get rid of Thought Scour, Godless Shrine. Turn 1 MoonShadow, turn 2 fetch Archaeologist. Try to hit something. That better than Archaeologist here? Archaeologist definitely has higher upside. If I flip over, like, I guess I can always... Yeah, so close. Like, if archaeologists say flipped over an Oculus, found a flare, that looks so much better. Whereas this sequence is probably something like... Didn't see that one coming. Do I have any interest in discarding this archaeologist and unearth it next turn? That's a good draw. All right, archaeologist. I don't ask you for much. I just need you to find me like a flare or a thought seize. You the real MVP. Second copy of Dismember, as one does. So I have to take the Dismember, right? If I take the Karn, I don't get a chance to grow this archaeologist or grow this MoonShadow. Yes, top deck land. Well, I mean, he's just going to have Tron available next turn with an Ugin. Okay, so if he misses on a land drop, does Ugin make 2 or 3? Makes 3. That's gross. So if he hits on a land drop, he can play crack map, play Ugin, add 3, exile Oculus, cast Karn, exile MoonShadow, and the game's over. Karn Bridge. Well, if he goes Karn Bridge, then he's taking a chance on whether or not this face down matters. Because if this face down's like another MoonShadow or another Oculus, then we would just kill him through Karn Bridge. Yeah, like, I agree this is the play if you don't hit the land. But if you do hit the land, you go Karn or Ugin Karn. All right, so let's surveil, see if we happen to flip over Harbinger. Bitter Triumph. I think I'd rather bend that and try to hit Harbinger right now. I don't think killing Ugin eventually is a winning game plan. What's he getting off of this? I think we just attack him. Come on, Harbinger. Come on, Harbinger. That attacks under an Ugin, or under an ensnaring bridge. Maybe we cycle into Consign. Just like cycle this on Earth and then reach over and grab our sideboard and pull a Consign out and be like, ah. Got him. The next card. Don't play with your sideboard under your desk. No, my sideboard is in my deck box in a bag over here. They also might not be able to deal with enough attackers because Ugin only gets rid of permanents that are one or more colors, so it can't touch these manifests. You're just going to get like a big walking ballista. Oblivion Stone. Well. Do we let that go? So here's the question. We can cycle on Earth and look for Flare and have a chance to counter this, or we can let this go. They have to pop the Oblivion Stone. They lose their Ensnaring Bridge Karn, and we can unearth Oculus and get a new attacker. Plus whatever we draw for turn. Well, we would get an Oculus trigger. And if that Oculus trigger flips over another Oculus or a MoonShadow, we just kill them, even with the life gain. I'm going to go for it. We obviously feel really bad if the next card on my deck is a Flare of Denial, but I think it's like such low odds of that happening anyway. Look at that. That big old knot of flare. Maybe they just forget to pop the O-Stone. Or really hoping that said like something about there was one or more colors or something. So that's good. So we unearth this Oculus. It flips over that Oculus. And that beats Ugin gaining life. We just have to not flip this face up. So they Ugin exile this one. Even if they cast another spell, they can't exile this one. It's gone. Uh-huh. Yoink. Surprise, was I aboard Oculus all along? Why didn't he tap Swamp? What would tapping Swamp have done for him? He would have had a floating mana to not use on anything, right? Definitely not on the draw. Yes, I bring in Lauren of the Third Path against this deck. Ugh. Talk about it feels bad. Man, if you told me today I was going to be registering a list that was splashing white for Lauren of the Third Path, I'd ban you from the channel. Am I just getting rid of Bitter Triumph? I kind of like, I need to find a blue card for Subtlety anyway. Are we just doing this au naturel? Deck. Do this deck. I don't think I'm playing out the frog. As much as that pains my soul, I don't want to play out frog and have them have third Tron land plus like Devourer, Ugin or something, exile my frog, and then I untap and just play Harbinger and I'm sad because I have nothing else in hand. But if I do this and for some ungodly reason they miss third Tron land, I could maybe have some better action. You ever seen a Tron land or Tron player miss third Tron land? Because I sure haven't. Put Ugin on top. Harbinger. Show me the dismember. Show it to me. We all know you have it. There's not a doubt in my mind. Color me shocked. Never, ever, ever saw that coming. Imagine being a Tron player, just the natty Tron plus the dismember and the best payoff plus an extra rub it in your face Tron land. I guess I don't want Ashiok. I don't think Ashiok has been good against Tron since they were like a Star Sphere Sylvan Scrying deck. Well, Ashiok's not even good, like, if they just have turn one expedition map. All right. What am I getting rid of? Is it crazy to get rid of Archaeologist here? Just because Thought Scour is kind of doing the same thing, but cheaper and doesn't require me to tap off of Consign to Memory? I'm going to say no. It's not crazy. It's so not crazy, I'm going to do it. This card, I said earlier, Sowing Mycospawn was really high on my list of cards that I thought would need an eventual ban in MH3. Devourer of Destiny is pretty up there too. Like, basically pregame Scry 4 for no cost. And it stacks. All right, I'm going to go for a Surveil here. I know that I guess maybe I can't because of Kozilek's command. I feel like he's going to have it. I just have it in my gut that he's going to have the K command. All right. Never mind. Never punished. What's your first big payoff of choice? Add the K command. Just so we're clear. That has everything. Oh boy. Take Ugin, try to consign the cast trigger on Devourer. All right. Let's think about this before I make a move. Am I winning this game if I'm only attacking for 4 here? I hit for 4 down to 14. They play Fleshraker, then play Kozilek's Command. I have consigned for the Kozilek's Command. Or they play Devourer, and I consign the cast trigger on the Devourer. Untap, Thought Scour myself. I really feel like I'm not winning this game if I don't Thought Scour hit a land right here. If I consign and hit Devourer trigger, yeah, I'm going to go for it. Thinking Race Devourer. Well, they cast Devourer, and either I give up my consign to answer the Devourer cast trigger. I can attack, but I'm putting them down to 10. They're putting me down to 8, and they have Devourer plus Kozilek's Command that I have no answer for. So if they just like Devour Kozilek's Command, exile one of these, make some spawns, I can never attack in again. Yeah, I needed 3rd land pretty bad. A little bit surprised at them going for this line instead of just hard casting the Devourer this turn. Does indeed fully suck ass. Take that. Go ahead and unearth the Archaeologist. Who hits another unearth and like nothing. So I can flare whatever I get a chance to flare, and then unearth the Archaeologist again. Chalice of the Void, X equals 1. Is this worth flaring? It does shut off Unearth. It also lets them get in for 2 damage with this Flesh Raker, which maybe matters. It maybe doesn't. This does grow the MoonShadow for whatever that's worth. Well, growing the MoonShadow, I feel like doesn't matter that much because it's just never going to be a 1-turn clock. Like, it's always going to have to connect twice, right? Unearth you again, see what we hit. Sink into Stupor. We've already played Landon for turn. We didn't know about that one. Interesting. Maybe they'll be nice and just let this hit through. They don't. Okay. Are you ready for this? The big brain play. The big brain play of not playing a land. So if they play any colorless spell, I can evoke Subtlety, replicate Consign, hit the Flesh Raker trigger, the cast trigger, and the spell they play. God, I'm so good at this. I would like to evoke my Subtlety. Evoke, target, replicate, hit you. Love to see it. So we replicate Consign 3 times. We hit the Ugin cast trigger, and the Flesh Reaker spawn trigger. So now they can't block the MoonShadow, calls a menace. We hit the evoke trigger off the Subtlety. I guess it doesn't work as well as we want, right? Because we have to leave them with the Flesh Raker trigger. Damn it. We needed one more land for it to be perfect. Yeah, we just don't hit the Ugin. We hit the Flesh Raker trigger, the Ugin cast trigger, and the Subtlety evoke trigger. And they don't make a spawn, so they can't block the MoonShadow with menace. Subtlety gets in the air, and we kill them. Ugh. Ugh. Too much thinking. What happened to the good old days of playing Thoughtseize into Tarmogoyf into Liliana of the Veil, and your opponent just scoops? Where are those? Harsh Flats go. Do miss Tarmogoyf? Same. I've got my... somewhere back here. Yeah. I've got my sad little set of Tarmogoyfs back here, like, in the binder, rotting away, just waiting for a chance to shine. It's gonna be like a Spell Pierce. Sacred Foundry. Mana Tithe. Guess who didn't have Mana Tithe on the radar there? It's just Boros. Double Pride. Okay. I would like to play that one. What's your feels on Ketramos? I kind of want to try Esper Oculus with the Ketra and maybe the Flare package and stuff. You want to play Flare with Ketramos? That seems not synergistic. Discharge. Raven Charm. So I could evoke Subtlety off of Oculus and flare this. Obviously, I got to give up a lot of cards. I do get a cat off the board. And try to find something. Well, we have Oculus Hardcast, but they're going to have triple Ocelot Pride, City's Blessing, about to be an active encampment. That's a lot going on. Just discard a bunch of cards and still have my my frog die. This is dealing 6 damage. Deals twice the number of creatures you control. Yeah, I would be so ecstatic if that card was only crap. If it was only like 1 times the number, that would be so amazing. We're going to play a second frog and see what happens. I believe Mike's a pro and will rip Unearth. Well, Unearth wouldn't be able to target anything in my graveyard, so I don't know if that's quite the draw we want to have. At least they can't flage down one of my creatures. Y'all remember when that was a thing? You play out any threat and they're just like, ah, that's dead. Idiot. All right, if opponent attacks, I am 100% banking on their last card not being a red permanent. I was kind of implying the Ocelot Prides. Don't know if we can beat a Johnny Plus. Well, it would be a Johnny Plus with 2 less cats on the board. I don't really have to block yet. When it hadn't gained life this turn. Well, I would have guessed wrong. That's a good draw. Gonna like attack in with 1 frog. Okay. Earth the Archaeologist, see if maybe we can find something worth doing. Or even if it whiffs, having like a 1 power blocker right here wouldn't be too bad. It does in fact whiff. These archaeologists have been mid. I bet if we attack with MoonShadow, he double blocks with Rag plus Cat token. And we could have pushed a Johnny on the stack. There is 0 reason they should ever, like, block in a way that if my last card is a permanent, I just blow them out. I say that. People will do it, but... stranger things have happened, I guess. They surveilled over this arena of glory. Love to see that in the graveyard, not on the battlefield. Dead land for turn. Love to see that. Opponent, are you stream sniping? You made this attack last turn, and then you're not making it this turn? Like... I think I want to attack with both frogs. Maybe not. Maybe still just one. I really don't like that no attack from them after they just made that attack last turn. Discard seas. Well, I was saving it to discard to this frog so that I could profitably block like the cat token or the Ajani, or not the Ajani, the Ragavan or something. Oh, there's best possible, right? But now we're kind of getting to the point that I need to be more on the front foot. Of course, the force negation's not doing anything with the voice of victory out. I wonder if there's any argument to attacking with the MoonShadow this turn. I see. I feel super dead. Block. 1, 2, 3, 4. Block. Something. It's definitely a pretty good couple top decks. The voice of victory hadn't have been there, we could have had the force of negation up. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. At least 4 is getting through, yeah. I don't know. I still really don't like that no attack with the cat token turn when I drew the fatal push. Like, that would have been a really, really good blowout turn. And it was a little bit weird to see no attack there. Just my personal 2 cents. Was 2 very good draws. Part happens, but See how game 2 goes. We showed them archaeologists, so they should know that I'm on some sort of a an unearth build. Did I actually cast unearth? All right. I'll keep that. It's third land. Tide of Souls. Something good. All right, Fatal Push, not bad. Come on, double 1-drop. Good. One more. Nice. I like this. Beating the stream sniping allegations. You say that before they untap and like play a Spyro, ditch a Flage that they got off the ban list. Voice of Victory into the known picked up push is a choice. We'll take the Thoughtseize. Fire off one of these right here, see what their hand looks like, and then decide on the other. Wrath of the Skies, Ocelot Pride, Thraben Charm. But I think I just take Ocelot Pride, Fatal Push the Voice, or do I think I don't really care about most of this. You still leave a league on and play ban deck after the ban list updates. There's like a window where you can finish your league before like the end of the week or before the next moto downtime. And then if you're not done by that, it'll automatically kick you. So there's like a little bit of time that you can technically play with cards that are banned, but it's not a long window. Yes, main phase Thraben Charm me. Oculus off the top. I would like to take a Seasoned Pyromancer, please. Though I do still need to find a way to actually get the game over with. Touché. Almost. Really, really close to what I needed. Throw away the Wrath of Skies. Queen of Glory. We're doing good on those top decks in the mid game. Just need tiny bit better. Tiny little bit better. All right. Opponent's got the top decks. We don't. We'll move it along. 4 lands in a row is brutal. 4 lands in a row is pretty brutal. It's not so brutal when you have like a frog out and you can kind of power through it, but when you don't have the frog and you're looking at a Fallaji Archaeologist, quite a bit worse. Let's see if we can bounce back for the 4-1. I'm not one to throw back a hand with a frog on the play. What do we got? This Ponza? I don't think so. I could be wrong, but signs are suggesting it's unlikely. Said it before, guide, don't flame me. Well, that's why I don't really pay attention. It's solitude off solitude. Okay. Why I don't really pay attention to the MTG bot. Like, people change constantly. Not going to give you the extra free energy. Yeah, this is blue-white blink. Okay, triple solitude, double guide, Ocelot Pride. We'll go to game 2. We will go to game 2. Wanted that one more. I got it. Man. I kind of touched on it before the league started, and I'm going to say it again. I really don't like this sideboard. The sideboard is all kinds of I don't think I want to go the Force of Despair route. I think that that's a losing battle, especially if I'm pitching 2 cards to answer something that they're drawing a card off of. And like they have so many 2-for-1s in their deck. We'll see if we happen to hit an unearthed target. Go ahead and Fatal Push now so they can't ephemerate. No more Solitude. Don't do it. Son of a... Discard one of these. Okay. Let's stop this. No more Solitudes. No Moss Solitude. Mystical Dispute. Okay. I'm still going to hit you with a frog. I'll Surveil, see if I hit something better than Archaeologist. If I don't, then yeah, I do think I'm still unearthing this Archaeologist. I'm not getting that back. Are there supposed to be a Porn Oculus in this deck? There's supposed to be. There are 4 of them in this 75, except I think I might have boarded one out. Yeah, because of like mystical disputes and solitudes and stuff. Opponent kept a card on top, which is not the place I want them to have cards. How about a flare? Good. Good. Good, deck. Do that. I'll discard one of these Thought Seizes. I'm going to save the other one just in case they want to, like, draw into something, wait a turn because I just showed them Flare of Denial and not cast it, and then I can maybe Thought Seize it away on my next turn. Never mind. They're just going for it. I do kind of like getting this Kaito down here. We'll see what we draw a frog, then we can decide. Yeah. MoonShadow. Go. Please don't top deck another Solitude. Sweet. Belly into the bin. No cards in hand. Look who finally decided to make themselves known. Is a Saturnalia Miracle. Do I want to trade off Kaito for Ocelot Pride Witch Enchanter? Sure. Also perfectly fine. Show me a flare. Flare. That's fine. That does just as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Here's an Oculus. GLHF. You mock me, deck. You mock me at every conceivable turn. On to game 3. Is there anything I want to change up? Probably not. Do they run maybe Ashiok? Unironically, they have fetches. They showed me what's the stupid land that goes and gets planes. They could be on Starfield Shepherd. It's the last match of the league, or the very last game of the league. I feel like if I don't board in Ashiok at least once, then what did we play this for? This is the only chance Ashiok is going to have. What have we got? They've got Felia. We have got more lands than I care to admit. You're right. I did already bring in Ashiok once. Mistakes were made. Should not have Ashiok in the deck. What we do need, however, is one of your finest pest controls. One pest control, please. One-time dealer. Big bucks, no mystical dispute. Hello. Damn it. It's not very kosher of you. Very kosher indeed. All right, so they kept on top. So Riddler. Second guide into Riddler. Nope. Pest control. One time. One time, tank. Do this for me. Do me this one favor. So that kills Ocelot Pride. How does this look if I fetch to 14 and Kaito 0? They attack, they jump something. I'm taking 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. If they have a creature pre-combat, I take 11. I think I have to. I think my out is finding pest control. Well, they have no cards in hand, so there is no Felia in step. Kept on top. Pre-combat failure. So pest control still live. Pest control, Fallaji into pest control. I could play an Oculus, but I don't think it does anything for me. Survey says right on time. I'm going to fatal push that one out of principle and concede the game. How far? No. Let me go back. I want to see how far down a pest control was. Oh, no. Oh. Oh. We were nowhere near this alleged pest control. At first pest control, 37 cards. That's not going to do it for you. Three-two because we didn't draw Ashiok enough times. Truth. What did we think of this 75? I'm not even going to touch on the sideboard because that's how much I hated it. Like, all of these inclusions, I think, are fairly awful outside of Consigned to Memory and Harbinger. Main deck. MoonShadow. MoonShadow, I think, did okay, I have to start. I had a very, very low floor opinion of MoonShadow. Very, very low. So when I say it did slightly better than I expected, it was still very, very low. I still don't think the card was worth it. But it did do slightly better than I thought it was going to do in the shell. I don't like Flare. Neither do I. That was one of my other opinions of the list, is you never want to sack off Psychic Frog. You never want to sack an Oculus. You can sack Subtlety, but that's only going to be a case where, like, you've already done the Subtlety thing, which is late game. You really don't want to sack Harbinger, especially if it's a matchup you want Harbinger. So Flare is only good with Archaeologist. If you don't see Archaeologist, then Flare's just like a miserable piece of cardboard that's working as a bad cancel, which, if you're already of the opinion that Counterspell isn't good, you never want cancel, right? The Oculus Unearth plan is still very underwhelming, in my opinion, in 2026. I like Oculus as a Magic card. I just think that the whole get Oculus into the bin, unearth it plan has kind of been power crept out, mainly by the card Quantum Riddler. I think Quantum Riddler was like the entire reason I stopped playing a lot of Oculus. Not necessarily specifically Quantum Riddler, but Quantum Riddler being in like Solitude shells and Blink shells means that your opponents are playing a bunch of Solitudes. They exile your Oculus before you get any sort of value off of it. You're not playing you're not as good of a Subtlety deck as you were before without Oculus. And then they have the Riddler Blink plan that just stonewalls Oculus, and them drawing 2 cards a turn usually ends up being better than you Oculus flipping over something that like doesn't really matter. So I just don't like that head-to-head matchup. Sideboard, like I said, felt atrocious. Like, none of these cards feel like they're solving problems I constantly have outside of that little subsection. And it's like boarding in pieces that get 1/20th of the job done in the tiny little subsection of games that it matters, if that makes sense. Like boarding in Soul Guide Lantern in the hopes that your Grixis Unearth opponent will turn one faithless looting, you have Soul Guide Lantern, and they just never do anything else the rest of the game, when realistically they're going to like cast a frog and you got to answer that, but you're not good at answering that. And if we had a better sideboard, we'd surely go 5-0. I think if I had a better sideboard, we probably could have managed a 4-1. I don't think we would have gone 5-0, just because this deck, like, this deck at its base is horrendous into blue-white blink. That's just like a matchup you never want to see in a million years. So I don't think we're winning that one. But I think a better sideboard and we have a reasonable shot into like Boros energy.